What you're about to hear is an excerpt from a series of videos I put out over 12 years ago, not knowing back then what would occur in this year, 2023, and this struggle for power. Not only in this nation, but we see it worldwide. So see it in that light. It's very relevant to what's happening right now today. 12 years I could see this coming. Thank you for all that.
Energy, power taking forms, working through form, then out of form. Like decaying bodies, losing one form takes on another form. No magic to it as we think. It's just the way God has things established, and they will be sown corruptible, raised incorruptible, condensed matter to matter, energy to greater forms. The spaces in matter, regenerating matter corruptible to matter incorruptible, changing the molecular structure for an eternal experience beyond this temple. Christ knew he could lay his life down and take it up again. How did he know this? He knew what I am now sharing, again, no magic to it. He knew the way the Father has set things up beyond what others may have seen or believed. He would not even speak the word death until forced by the limited minds that surrounded him that knew of nothing else but death. He had taken other forms before this body form. Paul saw that the rock that followed Israel in the desert was, as he said, Christ, 1 Corinthians 10:4. The burning bush was none other than Christ. The so-called angels that visited Abraham, one of which was Christ, the other were two angels. And there were other forms, but even these are thought by some to be anything but Christ, not believing in a being able to do such magic as it would be called. Confused with what has been called shape-shifting, it is just the nature of the beast, as has been said, the nature of a higher being that Paul came to see, looking for him beyond the flesh, no longer sees him in a limited bodiless body, likened unto our bodies. Paul then saw that though he had new men after this limited view of life and death, he no longer saw them as such. He saw a new creation. New in the sense that it would be new to us who have not given it such a thought, living in a limited experience and subject unto this belief of death all our lives. Jesus clearly demonstrated this new Zoe body. Power and the glory. Adam's body housed his soul by the power of that which is spiritual. Through this spirit, it held together and consisted. Removing this sustaining power, spirit and material begins to progressively decay, break up, return to its original form, dust, yet still energy. What's called nakedness is what I've just described. Naked we came into this world and naked we leave. This nakedness would not have occurred had humanity chose to be sustained by the Spirit. You see what Adam meant when he said he was naked. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. The focus is not on the might or power, but its source, its originator. Might, human effort acquired through accumulated knowledge. Power, human effort simply using God's power apart from him to work their purposes, and will. A will eventually overrode by the higher will. Whether or not we choose the higher will, anything we will, any energy expelled by us works to his higher will. Whether we call it good or evil, the higher will uses it and brings about his will. What is lost is the individual alignment with this eternal expression and expansion of God. Any other will, not expanding because it does not express the higher will, it expands into its own place, yet remains eternal, expanding further and further until it appears non-existent. Thus the reason he can say, I never knew you. Little did we know what his power available to us could do under our will of things. Thus the erroneous idea of some that we will be eliminated, thus no longer exist, is wrong. Nothing is destroyed as we thought destroyed, nor is it being created as we think created. It always will exist, yet in another form or place of its choosing. I proclaim unto you, a statement made by Jesus, meant, I say the same as you have said, thus give you that place and form you have desired and believed, a place and form without me. This place is not the temporal abode referred to as hell, Sheol, Hades, death, the grave, pit, the lower parts of the earth, the underworld. This other place is beyond this realm. It is said, though I make my bed in hell, you are there. Psalm 139, verse 8. This other place is beyond hell. This place is a place where he is not. To even come to understand or define this place, one would have to experience this. Thank God, this is one thing I will never know, nor be able to describe it to you, knowing I will never experience it. I want us to view all power as just raw, naked power, not attributing any sense of good or evil to this power. When we see God working his will in this experience we're going through, we must come to see his using raw power. Power, he says, that he gave to the Son. His giving Jesus all power. This all power is this raw power that I'm speaking of. And saying all power means just that, all. If you see anyone using power, they could not have power unless God gives it to them. We see good and evil elements using this power, and we would question, why would God give evil any power at all? Before you get too judgmental, think of this statement from Jesus. You who are evil give good gifts to your children. How much more your Father in heaven? Note this, he's calling you evil. So here you are exercising some power, giving gifts to your children. Where did you get your power to do this? And why did he give you who are evil power? Even though in this case you used it for good, giving your children gifts, who's to say that God given you who are evil power? Who is to say that you could turn around and instead of giving your children gifts, use it to harm them? Why would he give you that are evil the power to do good? Taking this further, let's say that God gives power to an individual and that individual uses the power to rob or kill. Did God make a mistake giving this individual power? If God had not given him this power, he would not have the ability to rob or kill. Think. If God stopped giving out his power to free will beings, we could do neither good or evil. Yet everything would stop and die. Because it says that through his giving us power we live, move, and have our very being. As for the robber and murderer, God also has given power to the policeman to stop that individual's free will choice. Power is measured out as he so dictates, so that all have this power with the free will choice to use it correctly. Some do, and some don't. I ask you, where's Pilate today? He that took God's power and used it to crucify the Son of God. Where is the Roman Empire today? Only so much power was given and no more. When that power was gone, so was the individual and the empire. How would you have measured it out if you knew that it would take the free will act of some individual government to accomplish what was needed to set humanity free from the evil's attempt to destroy all humanity? It had to be accomplished without your forcing your will on this situation, thus keeping intact the free will of all. If you consider what transpired, God did an outstanding job. The devil didn't have a clue that what he had instigated with Adam and Eve was being undone by what appeared as an evil act. If the devil had any idea that what he was doing that day in the Garden of Eden and in the cross would accomplish what God had wanted, he would not have done it. Who's clever in this picture? Ask yourself, how would you run this matter of power if you were God? You might think, I'd never give elements of evil power. Who would you consider evil? You can imagine different views of this. Everyone would withhold power from those who didn't see things as they do. What would you do with those you saw as evil? I had thought of 1,000 questions of this matter of giving out power. All I can say is that I am glad I am not God. Just raw power was given to power to execute the duties he had as a Roman governor. Though in Paul's hand it worked to what appears as an evil, yet it works to God's certain good through the crucifixion of Jesus. You have to understand, it's just raw power. Power was needed to crucify Jesus that day to fulfill God's plan and purpose, so the needed power was given. Of course, their plan and purpose was evil. The power wasn't. It is God only that has the authority to give power and to whom or what purpose he intended. While others think of this power or where it came from is another matter. It says that had they knew that God's planned purpose would be fulfilled through the use of this power God clearly gives, they would not have exercised their right to use this raw power. They had thought that they were the source of power and its purpose. So power in and of itself is neither good nor evil. You see the Apostle Paul touch on what I am attempting to convey here, found in Romans 14:20. For meat destroyeth not the work of God. All things indeed are pure, but is evil for that man who eateth with offense. Titus 1, verses 15-16. Unto the pure all things are pure, but to them that are defiled unbelieving is nothing pure. But even their mind and conscience defiled, they profess they know God, but in works deny him, being abominable and disobedient unto every good work reprobate. Here you see another reason God gives power to the just and the unjust, to manifest his glory and expose the fallen nature of humanity, who constantly robs God of his glory, giving glory to man. Man in the name of man, by the power of man to the glory of man. We call it secular humanism that throws God out of the picture completely. There are many atheists in this world that have power and do good things for many. Do you think they benefit from this? Sure, they get recognition, applause for their actions, yet God gets robbed, does he? We know God gave this atheist power. That power helped people. Those people were God's concern, not what others thought was the source of supply, the atheist. It doesn't in the long run profit the atheist what the man profits if he gain the whole world and lose his soul. The atheist's purpose is done and goes nowhere according to his beliefs, yet God's plan and purposes continue using atheists with him unaware. Imagine the shock of the atheist when they are shown this in eternity. There are many shadows of God's power, some appearing good, some appearing evil. But know this, which tells us all things to work to his good, to those that love him and are called to his purposes. We may not see this and take sides as to God's nature. Some have said that God has a dark side to his nature. I don't believe that. It contradicts what is written of his nature and character. In him is no darkness at all. God is not tempted with evil. I believe it is, as I've said, a matter of just seeing raw power, and God in his grace giving power to the just and the unjust in order to work that which is good for all those that love him. He is not darkness, nor is he evil. He cannot be darkness and light, for it said that the darkness has not overcome the light. What is darkness? Nothing more than the absence of light. Leave God, who's the light of the world, out of your life, and all you will have is darkness. What is evil but the absence of good? Embrace evil, and there will be no good in your life and actions. What is evil but nothing more than denying the creator of all things, who pronounced each day of creation as good? Not to an evil thought to cut God off as the source of all power did the world as we have experienced it occur.